people of Portland are wondering, where did all the police go? What happened to them? Seems like they almost disappeared. Have the police disappeared in Portland? No. If you're a reasonable person, and I know there's lots of reasonable people in Portland that are watching this channel because they are freaked out. You guys are freaked out about what's going on in your community. I am too. That's why I'm, going through this and constantly talking about these topics, because this is the micro of what's going on out there. This is, this is the boots on the ground. Okay, you don't have enough cops in Portland. Well, how do we get there? Where did all the cops go? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, right? Yeah, if you've been watching this content, you know exactly how many cops there are in Portland at lots of given points in time, because I read them to you. We talk about them. Now, you've got some residents who are like, the homeless encampments have kind of moved out our direction. And when we call up 911, sometimes the police don't show. Sometimes it takes them hours. Sometimes it feels like they're only going to respond if somebody dies. These are literally topics that come up on the regular. Because if you've been watching CNN, you think that everything's hunky-dory and it's all good. It's all Putin's fault, right? It's all Putin's fault. We got to blame somebody. Well, since 2020 and since way before then, you haven't had enough police in Portland. So it's not like it's not that the police collectively went somewhere. They individually did. They went to other police departments. They quit. They retired. And a lot of that has to do with your exact response, citizens of Portland, your exact response to policing. And that's how you got there. So when you're asking, where have all the police gone? Ask yourself. If you're asking that question, ask yourself, is there anything that we did to maybe push the police away even in the smallest of ways? Is there anything? Yeah, everybody knows the drill, right? Everybody knows the drill, except these folks going, where are all the police? Because we know what's happened. Police numbers have been on a decline forever. Crime has gone up. Those are not stats that you want to see. And so it's not like the police are like, yeah, we're just not going to return to your 911 call. We got donuts to eat. We got, coffee to drink. That's what we're doing. And screw you guys. You guys don't need public safety. That's not happening. You only have bandwidth. You only have so many police officers to handle so many calls. And that's literally what's going on in Portland. So it is, to a certain extent, hey, if you've got somebody that's in major danger, something really bad is happening to them in the moment, Portland police are going to place those on priority calls because they can only answer so many calls at once, right? That's what's going on. Let's jump on into it. Let's see what this looks like from this article. And I'm reading this article because one of Portland's finest retired officers sent it to me, and I thought, you know what? I took a second look at this and I'm like, there's some good points in this one. Let's talk about it. Let's bring this one up. Even though the pace of violent crime in Portland, Oregon has remained ahead of the pace nationwide, there's just one problem. Officers with the Portland Police Bureau are apparently nowhere to be found. No, see, I disagree right there. They are to be found. Just they're spread out because city of Portland is big. There's only so many police officers. So if you want them to be found more, maybe don't collectively dump on them as an occupation. Maybe don't allow Antifa to run roughshod over your city for 100+ nights during the summer of 2020. How about that? Maybe you don't have your politicians, down there with people that are protesting against the city that are causing these massive confrontations in your city. Maybe there's that. Maybe actually support law and order, because there's a lot of cities that don't have this problem going on. Their citizens aren't saying, where are the police? There's a lot of cities that are. And guess what? A lot of those cities defunded their police. How's that working out? Yeah, right. It's like they almost disappeared, local small business owner Loretta Guzman told Fox News. It probably felt like that. If you were a business owner, it probably felt like that. But you've just had this ongoing situation where you don't have enough cops. They can only handle so many calls. You can't hire police, personnel quickly. It's not a quick process. It's a very inelastic demand supply curve. Doesn't happen quickly, right? A lot of people feel really unsafe. They're angry, they're sad, they're mad. They feel helpless. They feel they don't have a voice. They have questions like, where are the police? Now, if you're asking, where are the police? You're asking the wrong question because you already don't have it in your head what's happened, and yet you live there. So if you follow, my podcast, you'll know exactly where the police are. They're out doing their job. They're out doing their job. It's just that there aren't a lot of them. You're undermanned. You're underwomaned, however you want to do that one. We don't want to be sexist here. That's not good. How come they can't come? Well, they can come, but if they do that and they're, doing your car got hit and out in the street and somebody else down the street is being actively robbed and or is suffering from a shooting, you got priorities. You got to make, life is a series of priorities, and the police are going to go to people who are literally, their lives are at stake. So that's what you've got. Well, we need more police. Well, you defunded the police, and this is a direct result of your actions. So the city of Portland should really just collectively sit back, and reasonable people, you don't need to do this, but the city of Portland should sit back and say, what should we do better next time? What actions of ours might have caused this situation to happen? And you can apply that to so many of these West Coast cities, right? So many of these West Coast cities. Here in Seattle, again, our new mayor, who ran on a platform of clear out the homeless encampments and get some more cops in there. We're not out of the woods as far as our cop situation here in Seattle goes. But it's not nearly as bad as how it is in Portland. Not nearly as bad. Because they've prioritized here in Seattle. You know what? Things are getting a little slim. We need to get some more cops. So at least that discussion has been made and it's ongoing. And our mayor is, wanting hundreds of millions for the police department budget. Going in the right direction there. The momentum is going in the right direction. And I think it wants to be going in the right direction in Portland, but you still got so many knuckleheads. They're like, yeah, defund the police. Good idea. Yeah, that's a strong sentiment. I mean, those police officers, they're just killing people left and right. Yeah, not happening, right? Not happening. You've got incidents. You've got isolated incidents. Yes, you do. Vast majority of cops doing their job. They signed on to, provide public safety. And that's what they're doing. They haven't gone anywhere. It's just that the numbers are depleted. And quite frankly, why wouldn't they be? If you went to your job every day and people hated you for doing your job, how would that make you feel about your job? Not good. Not good. Guaranteed. You wouldn't be saying, that's the greatest job ever. People literally hate me and my boss wants to, cut my salary and all kinds of stuff like that. Like literally happened here in the summers of 2020. Cut the police budget, and the police chief Best said, yeah, not so much. I'm done. Out of here. You guys go figure it out yourself. And that kind of stuff goes on. So how come they can't come is a question. We used to see them all the time, she added. Well, did you? How many years ago was that? How many years ago was it? Because this has been an ongoing slide in police numbers, right? Ongoing slide. And this is not just Seattle, Portland, LA, San Francisco. You read about this stuff all the time in major cities across the United States. We've just, as a country, we've gone, one direction, and it's not been a good one. Now, there are some towns, there are some cities that, let's just say, their leadership approves of public safety. And you don't seem to see the same type of circumstances go on there that we're reading about. Their citizens don't say, where are the police? How come they can't come? Yeah, Weird how that works, right? Guzman owns Bison Coffeehouse, a coffee shop that recently tried to allay the public's fears by hosting a coffee with a cop event. And you know what happened? Antifa rocked it. They bashed the windows, put a fire extinguisher inside, and just rocked it. They rocked it. However, the event fell by the wayside when a group of Antifa extremists showed up days beforehand and trashed the place. Okay, so you're letting Antifa run around? You know, you basically, Portland, you guys embraced Antifa and said, yeah, we're good with that. By letting them riot for 100 days alongside Black Lives Matter. Well, that's literally what happened. You cannot say that didn't happen because that literally happened. So now you got to live with the consequences. And here you are. Where are the police? Where did they go? Well, we know where they went. Away. Around 2:51 a.m., officers responded to a report of vandalism at the Bison Coffeehouse in the 3900 block of Northeast Cully Boulevard. When they arrived, they found windows had been broken, property damaged, and white debris from a discharged fire extinguisher through the interior, local station KPTV reported last month. Bison Coffeehouse is owned by an indigenous person, Guzman. So, way to go, Antifa. Yeah, nice job. You guys are just really, really good people. Outstanding citizens. There's a tweet from Andy now. Breaking: an indigenous-owned cafe in Portland, Oregon, scheduled to host a Coffee with a Cop community event, was smashed up and sprayed with paint everywhere by 6 masked assailants using hammers and crowbars. I mean, as you do. Antifa are celebrating the attack on social media from Bison Coffeehouse. So, you know, they've probably still got their Twitter account and they've probably still got their Instagram account, don't they? Yeah. And yet Trump doesn't have one. Well, that's interesting as well, right? So, you know, you've got these situations that are like, what is going on? There's this duality happening and you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, we'd like to have more police and also collectively defund them at the same time. Got to choose. In Portland, unfortunately, you have not prioritized policing in recent history, and this is the result. Reasonable people know this to be true, but if you're wondering where the cops are, yeah, you might want to, you know, take a check into something other than CNN. Portland is without a doubt one of the most anti-police cities in the country. And while it appears this anti-police sentiment has had an effect. Oh, you think so? Violent crime surged 38% in Portland between 2020 and 2021, according to FBI data, outpacing the rest of the country. Property crimes like car theft and vandalism also increased from 2020 to 2021, according to Fox News. Now, you can make the argument because we're reasonable, you can say that, but that's happened across the nation. All right, some of that was COVID related. All right, it's go time. Let's do some criming. And so they did. But then you've got these other cities. Some cities have reeled that back in, but then you've got these other cities where it's like, all right, the free-for-all, because we defunded our police, let's let the free-for-all just keep on going. And I think that's what you're seeing. The average response time to a high-priority call was 20.4 minutes in October. Let me read that again. 20.4 minutes in October. Something bad's happening to you right now. They might get you in 20 minutes. A lot of damage can happen in 20 minutes, right? Portland should be terrified. I'm not a fearmonger type. It's all going to end. It's all going to end at the end of the year. We're going to run out of diesel. We're not going to have any electricity. It's all going to end. You don't hear me saying that a lot, right? But Portland should be afraid. When you've got police response time like that, something is afoot. What is it? Well, yeah, where did they all go? What happened to them? Yeah. The slowest it's been in at least 6 years. Portland Police Bureau defines high priority calls as those in which people or high value property are in immediate danger. You only got so many cops. You can only respond to so many situations at once because whether you believe this or not, a police officer can't be in 2 places at once. I know. That's hard. That's hard to believe and it's hard to imagine. But, you know, even if you reimagine and rethink that multiple different ways, it doesn't pan out. Doesn't pan out. Unless you lick a psychedelic frog. That's literally a story right now. park officials are saying, where was that? Utah or somewhere? Hey, we're not recommending that you lick the psychedelic frogs. We know you might get a little buzz going on, and you might kickstart that weekend, but we don't recommend licking the psychedelic frogs because they're poisonous. So if you were thinking about doing that, maybe on your lunch break or on your weekend, let's go find a psychedelic frog and lick it. Maybe reimagine and reassess where you're with that plan. Speaking with Fox News, local nonprofit founder Michael Fesser said it seems like Portland police officers are only interested in dealing with crimes involving death. Portland police officers don't get a choice of, hey, are you interested in coming out to this call? 911 dispatch picks up the call and they direct it out and the cops go. They just can't go to more than one call at once, like I just kind of walked that through. So, interested in dealing with crimes involving death. They don't have a choice. They can only get to the high priority calls. This is not that hard to figure out. I find it, mind boggling where people are like, okay, what happened? What happened to our city? Well, have you been reading any kind of news? I mean, is this something that you're following ongoing? Because this is not a new sitch. This is not a new situation. We have felt that police have, checked out or failed us for a while. Now, you failed the police collectively as a city. That's unfortunately what happened. And I throw you reasonable people in there too. Unfortunately, you just kind of get lobbed in there because you live in the city. And I know you guys want resolution. That's why you're following a channel like this. You're like, oh, geez, at least somebody's talking about it, right? It seems that they have just sat back and said, we're not going to do anything unless it's a dead body, he said. I can see why people have that attitude, but if you really followed what happened to Portland Police Bureau the last 5 years, you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, all right, we did that? Oh, yeah, okay. Citizens of Portland did that? Oh, yeah, summer of 2020? Yeah, America did that? Oh, yeah. Oh, man, we're not able to hire quick? Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that's frightening. That's frightening. That's what you got going on. But it's not as though there are just a bunch of officers standing around doing nothing. What's actually happening is that the Portland Police Bureau is severely understaffed. We've talked about that probably as much as any channel, probably more than any channel on the internet. I would throw that out there. If you can find a channel that has talked more about staffing shortages at Portland Police Bureau, let me know. Because to me, it's like, all right, this is kind of the epicenter. This is the focal point of this issue because of so many situations that are unique to Portland that have happened. Strong Antifa presence. You got, keep Portland weird, Portlandia, that whole approach. Don't like the police. And all of you reasonable people get thrown in there too. And there's beautiful suburbs in Portland that are taking a beating because you've got homelessness running around. You got drugs. You got craziness going on. You don't have enough cops to support you. You got reasonable people leaving left and right. Ever since the Black Lives Matter riots of 2020, in fact, the Portland Police Bureau has been hemorrhaging officers left and right. We know this. We know this. Every day, we are still unable to staff shifts to minimums. And I talk about this a lot. How do they staff that? How do they staff it then? Well, overtime. They ask police officers to come in and overtime. How about if your boss asked you to come in and do overtime all the time? Would that get old? Would you get burned out? When your job is you are running around after crazy people and you have a gun and you are wildly overworked, how do you think that goes? How do you think that goes? I'm surprised we haven't seen more cops just kind of like, yeah, and have a meltdown. I mean, seriously. That, coupled with increases in violent crime, traffic crashes, and other resource-intensive calls, means people sometimes have to wait a long time for an officer to respond. Portland Police Bureau spokesperson Terry Wallow-Strauss told Fox News in an email. Strauss stressed that officers got into the line of work to help the community, and it's frustrating when they can't. They're hopping. They're hopping. You read news stories and you'll hear accounts of cops that the minute they come on a shift, if it's a tough day, they're a couple of calls behind. All right, got to ditch that one. Yeah, I can't go to that one. All right, go to this one. Maybe somebody will get to that. Don't really know. And so, you've only got the bandwidth for so much. And I'm not trying to make excuses. It's just that it's a physical fact. So when people say, oh, where did they go? To me, it's like, really? Okay. Well, all right. It's going to take more than probably a minute to explain this. But since you've been living here, I'm sure you'll not figure it out. It didn't help that the city chose to throw one officer under the bus last year after he was accused of attacking a far left rioter. Yeah, in my experiences, and even down in Portland, I did not see any police officers attacking a far left rioter. Oftentimes they were the attackers. Not oftentimes, almost exclusively. Far left were attackers. And yet everybody wants to go, what? What? Antifa's a myth, right? It's a myth. Huh. Unless you're the coffee shop owner that just got rocked, and then it's very real. Yeah. The move enraged officers, prompting the Portland Police Bureau's entire rapid response team to resign in anger. They just basically disbanded and said, yep, nope, not doing that. You guys figure it out. Next time Antifa has a big attack, you guys work on that. So, and Andy No agrees. The significance of the entire resignation from the rapid response team means there will essentially be no response from Portland police when a riot breaks out. Well, that's comforting. How's that going to be? Oh. It's a lot of questions, no real answers, right? The good news for Portlanders is that the Portland Police Bureau is slowly hiring replacements. Okay, it is. But the downside to that is you've always got a certain percentage of the Portland Police Bureau that is retiring, quitting, going to another profession, doing a lateral move to another department that maybe pays more or has less expensive housing. Portland's got really expensive housing. It's got really expensive housing. People want to say, it should just be crappy. House should be like 20 grand in Portland. It's so crappy there. It's not. You got a lot of tech jobs. You got a lot of industry. You got a lot of business going on. It's expensive. So the Bureau is slowly bringing new officers in and currently reports 90 sworn vacancies. In September, there were more than 100 sworn vacancies, but it takes 18 months to fully train officers. And what I've been told is, hey, look forward in the future, 18 months, we might be looking at a different story. The whole overtime thing, that might shift a little bit, but don't expect miracles overnight. Don't expect just swarms of police to come into your community when you've got a call. They will if it's a bad enough call. If there's a mass shooting, they will. But then that leaves the rest of the city pretty much unmanned. And that's what I talk about a lot, is that there's going to be in these communities that have, defunded their police, there will be an issue at some point where it just kind of shows the emperor wears no clothes, and you're like, oh, yeah, I don't want to see that. Because that means people are getting hurt. People are being impacted. Innocent people are being impacted. Nobody wants to see that. But there are always repercussions for actions. The actions of Portland, where did they all go? That's what you're working with. So I think that the naive answer of saying, well, what happened to them? You can't say that anymore. You know exactly what happened to them. You might not like the answer, but Portland knows what has been done. They just don't want to admit it because Portland has just got this reputation worldwide now. Worldwide. People are like, oh, Portland. Yeah. Not so much. Not so much. And I read all of your comments about, my aunt had a house. She sold it right before things just went crazy. And I haven't been back in a couple of years, and I just went back and, oh my word, it was not good. It was not good. I have so many of those comments. And, a certain percentage of those people are going to be overreacting, maybe because they live in Narnia. But I think it's pretty accurate when people say, hey, downtown Portland, it is not what it used to be. And those are accurate assessments. Portland's Police Bureau is not what it used to be. So if you are a Portlander, make that vote count. You would have voted today, because I'm recording this for you on voting day. Maybe you guys are getting a new governor. I don't know. Anything could happen, right? All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.